So welcome to my YouTube channel. That's what we call The Good Life. Today we're going to be talking about weed control, and I'm going to be sharing with you a really easy method of controlling your weeds without the need for harsh chemicals. And I hope you're as excited as I am. I'm going to be going through the whole process of what you need, how to put it together, how to use it, and we'll also be giving you some results. Now, weeds are the bane of most allotment holders or home gardeners. One thing we can guarantee is weeds. As soon as we've cleared one lot, we'll get another. So it's always good to keep check of them. So there's lots of different ways you can get rid of weeds. There's obviously chemical ways. You can just remove them. Some people pour boiling hot water over them. Some people use streamers, or there's like the heat guns that you can use now. So there are lots and lots of different ways, but I'm going to be sharing with you a really easy, versatile one just by using some normal household products. Now, we all worry when we do when we use any kind of chemicals about the impact on the environment, if we've got small children, if we've got pets, you know, indeed the animals in the countryside, you know, and all sorts of beneficial insects. It's a real concern, and most of us are all trying to do our best to try and reduce that down. So let's move on to what I'm going to be using and what I'm going to be demonstrating today. So I'm going to go through the things that you need, and I'm going to put it together. So one of the things that we're going to be using is white vinegar. Now, I use white vinegar for lots and lots of things in my house because I don't like buying a lot of the chemical products that are on the market to do household cleaning. We put it in our clothes as a softener, and we use it for generally cleaning glass and worktops. We use it for cleaning our toilet. We've used vinegar for all sorts of things. We use it to descale our kettle with. So it's a really, really useful thing to have around the house. We buy it in a great big 5-litre container that we get off Amazon. Because we use it so much, it's easier to just buy big, these big bottles. We'll put a link on the screen and one in the description if you'd like to get some. Something else that you'll need is just some washing up liquid, any old washing up liquid. It doesn't have to be anything special. That one just happens to be the one that I've got at the moment. Some good old-fashioned table salt. Again, nothing fancy, nothing expensive, just a bit of table salt there. You might need a funnel, something to measure with. I've got like a jug there which measures a cup. I've also got something that I will apply it with. Now, you can just use a watering can, but it's a little bit wasteful when you use a watering can. If you use a sprayer, you can spot it on a little bit more so that you don't use it quite so quickly, and you can aim a bit more, so it's a lot easier to use. And then also something to measure out with there. I've got like a tablespoon measure there, and that's all you really need to do. Now, I'm going to mix up a whole bottle of it, and then I can decant it into my sprayer. And we will also put a link for a sprayer if you've not got one. What I would recommend is don't get those funny little trigger ones. Get ones that you pump up and then spray, because the little trigger ones just break. Trust me, I've bought far too many. It's worth getting a half decent one. This is a Hozelock one, which I've had for, I don't know, a million years, and it's what I would only ever use for weed killer. So if you do things like this, I have one labelled up for weed killer, so that you don't mix it with anything else. Even though this is only vinegar, it's still good to have separate bottles for different things. So first things first is open up the bottle, and then we just need a cup of salt. I just measure that out. So I've measured out my salt, I've popped my funnel in, and I'm just going to drop the salt in. So that's the salt in. Don't do what I did and dip the end of it right into the vinegar. You might need a stick to help get it through, which is what I did. And then you just need a tablespoon of any old washing up liquid. The reason you need a bit of washing up liquid is so that it sticks to the leaves when you spray it on, because if you don't put something like this on, I'm just going to put a tiny bit more in because some of it's stuck to the spoon. There we go. So that's the ingredients we need. So I'm just going to mix this up by giving it a really good shake. So that's nicely mixed up. So now I'm going to fill up my bottle. Like I said, you could use a watering can, but you'll just end up going through loads and loads of vinegar and being a bit wasteful. So personally, I would just get one of these because you'll have it for years. Now, because this is already pre-mixed up, I can just fill up my bottle to wherever I want to on it. So that's the bottle filled up. So I'll just pop that to the side there. And let's just put this on. Like when you spray anything, obviously be really mindful of where you're spraying, because even though this is only vinegar, salt and washing up liquid, it will kill whatever you spray it on. And whenever you're spraying anything, also watch out for any beneficial insects and move them off, because if you're spraying with this, it still won't do them a lot of good. So just be quite mindful of that, and obviously don't spray it near anything that you don't want to die. So keep it well away from any of the plants that you're trying to grow. We think we might have lost a plant last year because something died unexpectedly, but who knows. But all you do now is you just spray it. Now obviously I'm spraying this on now, and we're going to fast forward in a few days and you're going to see the benefits of this, because this literally works in a few days. This is the perfect day to do it because the sun is shining and it is nice and bright. You wouldn't want to do it on a wet day like you would if you were normally putting weed killer down. You want to put it on when you know you've got a few nice dry days ahead. So let's give this a spray. Got some nettles here, so this will be a good test. Let's try these. To be quite generous with it. The other thing to be mindful of, it's always best not to do anything like this on a windy day either. Same thing, it could end up blowing somewhere that you don't want it. So it's really, really worth doing it. Today is perfect conditions, I've got to say. It's dry, it's warm, there's no wind, and I'm not expecting any rain. So that's really brilliant. In fact, we're not expecting any rain here, I think, for the next week, unless we get some surprise. So we've come back a few days later, and you can already see that the nettles are starting to die off. Now this was quite a tough one to try and do, because obviously these are nettles, and there's this over here, and you can already see yellowing and they are starting to die off. This area was a little bit shaded, and I'm just going to take you over to another area which was full sun, and that's died off even more. So it just shows the difference that it makes whether something's in shade or whether it's full sun. And this is the other area that I sprayed. This was in full sun, and actually you can see what a massive difference having a bit of full sun on it makes. You've got lots of grass here that's really browned off, and in particular I've got a thistle there that's really, really browned off. Now I'm going to keep an eye on these over the next few days, and I might maybe make another application. I'll see how it goes. And if you're interested in making this formulation, we will put a link in the description for the vinegar and also the formula that we used, and there will be a link up on the screen if you want to get some of the vinegar too. Also, if this is your first time of gardening and you're looking at getting an allotment and you're wondering where to start, we will put a link up on the screen for a video on getting your first allotment.